on this discipleship journey for almost 9 months. And in that 9-month period, we've learned so much. We learned what a disciple is. We learned the characteristics of a disciple. We learned a lot of principles that guide a disciple of Jesus Christ. We've talked about the ministry of a disciple, and we've talked about the gifts given to a disciple. And now the last several weeks, we've talked about the qualities and responsibilities of a disciple-making relationship. In spite of the pandemic, many of you have continued to grow and learn in a very different environment than before. Many of you have been doing discipleship personally as you've gone through and studied the Word and tried to apply these principles to your life. Many of you have been online with us, and some of you have been still in groups meeting online to talk about the discipleship points and the principles that apply. Satan's effort to use this situation to halt our spiritual and discipleship growth has given God the opportunity to help us to be even more committed to personal responsibility for our growth as the Holy Spirit leads us. But remember, this discipleship ministry that we began 9 months ago is not a program to go through or a class that you can be done with. We're trying to establish discipleship as a lifestyle of being a disciple and seeking to disciple others as Jesus commanded in the Great Commission. Hopefully, you will continue to learn as you share what you know with others. Today, I want to look at what this might look like very practically. Let's talk about first the continue to learn part. We still need to learn as we grow, as we move on, as we continue our discipleship. We need to find people that we can learn from and with. Maybe people in the group that you're meeting with now, or maybe just continue with your group. Maybe it's to find a close Christian friend that you can talk with and share with and process discipleship with. And hopefully it's someone to whom you want to be accountable to. Now, how does that work? Well, first of all, you got to be consistent about it. Consistent to meet together. And I know we live in a busy world, but it's time that we, as we do with many things, prioritize our discipleship. What we prioritize, we'll work on, we'll follow through with. As you meet together, maybe you'll want to do a Bible study. Study a book of the Bible. Study one of the points that we've talked about throughout this ministry. Study a book on Christian character. There's so many resources available since we have online things now. Even resources that we have here at the church that you can come and look at, that you can use so that you can continue to develop discipleship. Hopefully when we return to meeting together, we'll have classes that you can be a part of that will continue to help you to learn and to grow. One thing I hope you've realized over the past 2 months, you do have a personal responsibility for your spiritual growth. You have a personal responsibility for your discipleship. God is not gone because church gatherings are. So as you seek to grow in your own spiritual life, be sure you take responsibility and seek accountability. So who will you learn from? Maybe a special friend, maybe a mentor, maybe a mature Christian that you've always looked up to and wanted to learn from and to share life with. Tell you what, why don't you stop right now and write down a name or names of people that you might want to be in a discipleship relationship with, learning with and from them. Go ahead, write them down. I'll wait. Now, hopefully you were thought of a name or two, but if not, I hope you'll pray about that and let the Holy Spirit reveal to you somebody that, or some persons that you might want to be in a discipleship relationship. But remember, intentionality is the key. When you write those names, if you wrote those names down, or when you think of a name, give them a call. Seek them out. Ask them to disciple you. Ask them to be in this relationship. And don't put it off. Do it today. Do it tomorrow at the latest. Have your calendar with you and schedule that first time when you'll get together and begin this relationship. Now that's the learning part. What about sharing your growth with others? Now there's lots of relationships where this can and does happen. If you're a parent, you have that opportunity to share your growth with your children. If you're a grandparent, you have that opportunity with grandparents. And if you have a spouse, you and your spouse can be in this type of sharing relationship with the growth that you have to share with them. Now, those are all natural relationships where discipleship can take place. But again, intentionality is the key. You see, the truth is, in these relationships, these natural relationships that we have, we are an example, either for Christian growth or not. But that also works in friendships, work relationships, with our neighbors. We have an opportunity to be able to be an influence, either for Christian growth or not. People who are already in our life see us, watch us. We're in conversation with them. We share life with them. And are we in those conversations in our life pointing them to discipleship in Jesus? Maybe it's time we be more intentional about doing that. Maybe approach some of those folks and ask them about really talking about faith, talking about discipleship, sharing a relationship with them that's more consistent, and being able to share what you know and to seek what they need to know. Now, again, you can do this through studying a Bible book, studying a book on Christian character. Again, resources available all over the place. And maybe even when we get back together, you can invite them to attend a class with you as you study and learn together. But not only discipleship meetings, not only those intentional times where we get together to talk, but just doing life together where possible. Sharing as friends, sharing a meal, sharing an activity. Sometimes it's those opportunities that give us the opportunities to share what we know about our faith. In those times where we're just hanging out together, to be able to use those opportunities to talk about how God is working in our life. Sometimes that Bible knowledge can turn into life knowledge, and then the wisdom that goes with it. So who in your life would be someone you would want to disciple? Again, write down a name or some names, and I'll wait again. I hope you've been able to think about some names and write them down. If not, continue to pray about it. We want you, and the reason we set up this ministry was so that discipleship would become a lifestyle. Now you have to choose that. And you must make it, as I've said many times already, intentional. Otherwise, you did just finish class. But hopefully, that's not what you were thinking 9 months ago. And as we've gone through this process, I hope discipleship is more of who you are than just what you know. God bless.